Hello everyone, welcome back to Angela's Craft Room. Today I've got this lovely card for you that I've created using the stamp set from Stampin' Up called Hold On to Hope. It's a beautiful stamp set when you're making sympathy cards, but also it could be with a different sentiment and without the cross. It could easily be a beautiful birthday card as well. So I'll just set that aside. So that's the card we're going to be making. This is the stamp set, Hold On to Hope. Has 10 images in it and some lovely sentiments. And we're going to be embossing this swirl flower image today and also using the cross for a sympathy card. So I'm going to start backwards sort of thing, because I'm going to start with the top layer, which is a piece of shimmery white cardstock, and it measures 5 1/4 by 3 7/8, and I've already cut out the second largest oval shape from the Stitch Shapes framelets from Stampin' Up. So then I'm going to use my embossing buddy and just rub that over so that we don't get any horrible lumps of embossing powder stuck on there, hopefully. Okay, so we're going to be using the Versamark ink pad, and I've already put on the block. With this type of how I'm creating this card today, it's easier to do it on a block than it is with the Misty. So I'm going to stamp it up, and you most probably won't be able to see what I've stamped until I've embossed it. So I'm just going to press down, lift up, and I can see that that has transferred. So I'm just going to do the whole card, but just remember, when you do it, just make sure that you do use the embossing buddy first. So just bear with me while I just stamp it up. Because I'm trying to cover the whole card. So we've nearly done half of it. I'm just trying not to put my fingers too much onto the shimmery white, because if I put my finger on there, it's going to leave a nasty thumbprint or fingerprint. So now we've done the thickest part of that mat, so we just need to go around this side. So the first card I showed you, I sponged in Wisteria Wonder, and this time I'm going to sponge in Soft Sky. I find with the sympathy cards, it's good if you just use a pale colour. When I do sympathy cards, I tend to not like making them black and white. Just remember, sympathy card doesn't have to be dull. So we just need one more stamp at the bottom. It's even hard for me to see where I've been and where I haven't sometimes, just in this process. So that'll do us with that. So now we're going to bring the embossing tray in with the white embossing powder. And we've literally got to get, and it might look to you that I'm wasting a lot, but I'm not, because all that's in my tray is going to go straight back into my jar here after the video. But it's just easier to liberally add the embossing powder so you get a really good coating, trying not to put your fingers where you've already stamped. So just like to flick it a bit from the back, just to hopefully, if there's any pieces we don't want there, that they'll come off. Okay, so there's a couple of spots, but I'm going to leave them because I think they're part of the stamp really. It's just I've only got the edge of it, so I'll take the risk. Now I'm going to heat emboss it, so I won't talk while I'm doing this part. Okay, so I really hope that you could see that. I don't know if you could, because it's really magical when it does change. Not really sure that you can see that. Well, you might be able to just see there. So now what we're going to do, get rid of our Versamark ink for now. And I'm just going to tip, because I've got to use the clear embossing powder as well. I would normally do this after, but I need to tip most of this back. In, because I'm going to be using the clear embossing on the cross. Now before all that happens, what we're going to do is hopefully just get most of that off, and we're just going to get you used to me using the Ranger blending tool, and I've got Soft Sky, and I'm just going to stamp up, and I'm going to start as normal on my non-slip mat and bring it across. And as I add more colour, you'll be able to see the beautiful white embossed image come to life. I really loved how the Wisteria Wonder turned out, and this is just becoming one of my favourite techniques to share with different stamp sets. This is going to be a lovely colour. I find, like, if you use a light colour for a sympathy card, you don't want to be too bold, and you don't want your ink pad to be too inky, juicy, whichever way you interpret it. So you can see that really highlighting the white swirls that I've done. Now this is quite a light colour, so just adding a bit more pressure than I normally would. And I think the ink pad needs a bit of ink in it, but I didn't want to re-ink it before doing this technique, because you don't want them to be too juicy. I could have done some of this before the video, but I think sometimes with these techniques it's really good to show you from right from the beginning to the end. So we've only got to do that little bit on this side, so it's not a real long process. So this corner up here isn't quite as dark as the rest, so I'll just add a bit more there. So also from inside the circle, if you want to, like from in here, you can ink up and start from the inside if you wanted to accentuate more of a colour. just around that oval, because that's where people are going to see the sentiment. But it's most probably not going to really make much difference with this ink pad today, because it does need re-inking. I did do it with the Wisteria Wonder and it really accentuated the oval, you could see. So I really like how that's soft, what colour did I say it was? Soft sky, sorry. So you get the general idea. That one definitely needs inking up. I'll have to do that. So then what we're going to do is, I've got a piece of Wisteria Wonder, and that measures 5 1/8 by 3 3/4. So I made it a little bit smaller. So I'm going to glue that so you can see the Wisteria Wonder through it. Okay, so I'll get rid of that non-stick mat. So yep. So I'll put it on that side so I can see. Because it's really important that you're only seeing that shimmery white cardstock that we've just sponged from the looking at the card. You don't want to see any of this piece. This is just so you've got that Wisteria Wonder showing through. And this glue's just about finished. Tell you, I've been going through so much glue lately. So then I'm just going to put that across a grid line. And I've realised I've done it wrong, but that's alright. What I'll do is I'll put this down first. It's easy to make mistakes, but we can fix that. Because if I'd put it the other way, we would have had glue everywhere. So then we're going to pop that piece onto there like that. So I'll turn this over. Now it's important to get glue evenly around that oval, but not too close to the oval that it's going to seep through. And I may even have to grab another glue, or we might just have enough to finish off this card. It always happens when I'm doing a video. It's handy to have that oval already cut out so I can hold on to it. Okay, so just around where that oval is, I'm just going to flatten the glue out a little bit because I don't want it oozing. I want it to be right up to the edge, but I don't want it oozing out. Okay, so now we've got that going that way. We want this, now it's curled, which is making it a bit difficult for me, but anyway. So we just want it to be as straight as possible, but we wanted it to cover that complete Wisteria Wonder piece underneath. And I know I can see a little bit of glue just come through there. That's alright. That's why cotton buds were invented. Just grab my chamois because I've got glue all over me now. Now, what we need to do now is stamp our image in where that oval is. Just getting the glue off my hands. So, just wanted that to... So just press down. And hopefully that's not going to make the glue seep out. So it's nice and flat. Okay, then I'm just going to grab my Misty and pop this down. I don't know how good this is going to stamp because I made a little boo-boo and we've had to change the way we're doing it. Now, I'll just get my sentiment. Now I'm just putting it up as high as I can and so it's straight. Then I'll just grab my black ink and a little piece of scrap paper because after doing all that I don't want to do a crooked sentiment. So I just like to put a little bit of ink on the sentiment and just double check. That's pretty straight. So I'm going to ink that up. And pop the sentiment down. And then I'm going to ink it up again. With the sentiment, like with this style of card, I like to ink it up about 3 times so I get a really bold image. It's just gone a bit over onto my rubber straight away. Now I'm sorry if you can't see what I'm doing, but all I'm doing is inking up the sentiment just a third time, and it's just a little bit of ink on there. Okay, so we're going to take that out of there, pop that over there for me to clean up later. Then what I've done is I've already cut out the cross. I've already cut out the cross, and I stamped in Whisper White the this image here over the cross, which I find quite effective. And then what I did was I stamped with the Versamark over the whole cross. Okay, I haven't done this for a long time. I used to do it a lot, but I haven't been doing it lately. But just stamp it over the whole cross. Make sure you get a really good coverage. Okay, then we put Versamark ink over there. Then we bring back in our embossing tray, but this time we're going to use clear embossing powder. And what that's going to do is it's going to give us a really nice glossy finish cross. So get it a really good covering on it. And I know I didn't do the embossing buddy on this one. I don't really feel that it's necessary, but you can do it if you want. Then I'm just going to hope it will sit still enough while I just emboss, heat tool to that. That didn't take very long, and what that does by just doing it with the clear embossing powder, it really gives you a really nice, really shine to your, like a glaze look to the cross. It's really nice. It usually doesn't take too long to dry. And all we're left to do now is to put that cross onto our card. And I'm just going to add some, it's nice and dry now, that's how quick it dries. So I'm just going to put some dimensionals on each side of the cross, and about 3 up the center. And we'll just take those, the back of the dimensionals off. So there's a couple of techniques we've used today, so I hope you'll give them a try. So we're just bringing our card in, and all I'm going to do is just place it just below Isaiah 46:4, the verse quote from the Bible, and I'm just pressing that down and that's our card finished today. Okay, and then I already, just to save a little bit of time because we had quite a bit to do, I just stamped the cross inside. So I'm sure someone would love to receive that, like when they're feeling down or they've lost someone that they've loved. So that's the two of them. This one here is the Wisteria Wonder, and this one is the Soft Sky. So I hope you enjoy watching those techniques today, and until next time, happy crafting!